All right, the modified lateral. This is a fantastic one for the people that have very sensitive lats and are not able to do the normal exercise. And as I would argue, I think the modified, even for the people that can, is still better. So what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna kind of lie in the other TV watching position. So this time we would imagine the TV is in front of us. And what I will start with here is I'm gonna keep the roll basically in between my connection of my triceps and the connection of my lats, if you will. And from here, I'm gonna roll forward and back, just like this. Now, make sure you don't go too far back and not far enough forward. Really try to always have this be your neutral position. So if you roll very far forward, roll just as far back. And what we're doing is we're searching for an area that's a bit painful, sensitive, uncomfortable, fill in the blank. And then when we find it, what we want to do is we want to hold it there, and from our hips, we want to shift. Now, if your legs are straight, it's a little bit harder to shift, so I always suggest bending the knees, but your hips have to stay on the ground. If I come up like this, it doesn't really, it's not the modified one anymore. Now it's the normal one, and you're gonna realize your breath really gets hard because you're fighting to relax. At the same time, you want to work on the tissue. So from here, I'm rolling, my hips are on the ground, and then when I find that spot, I move from my hips. This is also fantastic because it will teach many of you a little bit of coordination in your body, which is important because the better you can move, the less issues you have, the less mobility you need to do to fix the problems that you have. And so once I have felt that release a little bit, what I'm gonna do is I always like to say move one vertebrae at a time. So basically that means just move one small piece up and start the process over again. Now, what you're gonna realize is maybe this time the area in which is a bit tight, which mine would be here, is gonna be a little bit different. Maybe it's completely far forward, maybe it's the same spot, maybe it's completely on the other side. Doesn't matter, this is your body, figure it out, find it, always breathe and just work through those painful areas. And so again, I'm gonna move up, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue throughout this whole process, and you're gonna realize, I'm gonna scoot back here again, when you get over your ribs, you're gonna realize that it might be quite painful. A lot of times people stop here and they say, oh yeah, this is so painful because I'm over my ribs. Now, granted, bone, if you didn't know this, is the most sensitive tissue in your body, but you also have a very important muscle, your serratus anterior, that basically covers over this area also. So what we wanna do is if you realize that this is too painful for you, which it was at one time for me, and now it is not, which will be the same for you, is take your hand, hold the roll or push against the floor and just lessen your body weight, we would say, yeah? So just kind of roll in this way, take some of your body weight off, especially in the more sensitive areas. But again, find that area that is sensitive, which most likely will be right over that serratus anterior. And from here, move again from your hips, just rolling, trying to get it to relax. If your head gets a bit tired, unfortunately you only have two hands, you can also hold your neck like this, but then of course you can't hold the roll. So you kind of got to play around with the modified position and find out what works best for you. And obviously don't forget to do the other side.